Oh boy! I'm uploading on a day I usually wouldn't upload! The heck is going on? Well, nobody panic. Well, maybe panic, I don't know. It depends who you are. Because someone reached out to me with a cry for help. Huh. And you think I'm the best person to come to, huh?
You must be truly desperate to come to me for help.
Well, it is a fairly serious situation, at least in terms of historical preservation, because a Japanese locomotive has found herself on the chopping block. The chainsaws are coming out, boys! But there is an effort to save the engine, and they're asking for assistance. And not financial assistance at this point. They don't want your money or anything like that. This isn't a donation drive. This is, well, frankly, a petition. Now, I'm a little skeptical of petitions in general, mostly because petitions could be ignored. But if they think this is the best way to go, and it might be their last option, and it might work, well, a petition is just that, a petition. It doesn't cost you anything to help. You just gotta sign it if you think it's a good idea. But before I ask you to do that, let me tell you exactly what's going on. The locomotive in question is number 9667, a Japanese National Railway Class 9600 locomotive. Now, the 9600s are a class of 280 Consolidation steam locomotives built by the Japanese government railways starting in 1913. 9667 in particular was built in 1915, so she's 110 years old. The 9600s were particularly prevalent. A total of 770 of them were built, and as it stands, 43 of them have managed to survive into preservation, including 9667. Now, already I've lost a few of you because, well, hey, they have quite a few left. It's not like she's one of a kind, and that's true. That is a fair point, but in my mind, that's fairly dangerous logic if we're in a situation, which we are, where there's a fair amount of people trying to keep one from being scrapped. Mostly because, if you keep saying that, well, there's still more, so it's okay to scrap this one. Well, there's still more, so it's okay to scrap this one. Eventually, you get to the point where it's like, oh, there is only one more. You see the problem here? And if it were just me, screaming into the universe about protecting this one locomotive, but no one else was interested, I mean, what am I gonna do? I don't live in Japan. I have nowhere close to Japan. It would be pretty irrelevant. I wouldn't be happy to hear about it, of course, but there wouldn't really be a point to this video if that were the case. However, it's not the case, because there is a group trying to protect this engine, and they have been protecting her as best they can for many years. They call themselves the 9667 Preservation Society, as 9667 in particular has been sitting on static display outside in Takahagi City of the Ibaraki Prefecture. Keeping her there, out in the elements, has been, well, hard on her, because Japan is an island nation. The air is filled with salt from, like, the ocean, and, well, that's bad. But because of the efforts of volunteers for the last few decades, they've kept her in much better shape than you'd expect. However, apparently, during their last restoration project, which happened in 2020, they discovered that her cap was in a state of significant deterioration and would need more serious repairs. The second they told the city council of this, the city council decided it was a good excuse to just get rid of the engine entirely, which was, not what the preservation group was trying to say or do or imply. Like, it's not something they can't fix. They just need to do it, and they're willing to do it, but the council's like, no. Scrap her. It's like, wait, no, you have a whole group of people, of volunteers that have been doing this to preserve the heritage, to preserve the history, the local history, and you just want to get rid of it. Okay. And I admit there's a lot of things about the situation that are just sketchy as all heck. For one thing, the owners of the Takahagi Sports Plaza, where the engine is, want her gone. And I think they're putting pressure on the city council to make that happen. And the easiest thing for the council to do in terms of getting rid of her is to cut her up. The other problem is asbestos. Yeah. 9667 never actually had her asbestos installation removed at any point. So as she deteriorates, that's also a risk. So I think they're also concerned about that. So there's a lot going on here. But the volunteers are incredibly passionate about saving her, want to be able to do it, and all they need is for the council to allow them to do that. Another accusation regarding the situation is that the council is going to spend more scrapping her than they would saving her. Now, I can't prove that that's the case, as the numbers are all over the place. There's a lot of mixed information. But there was a significant amount of money set aside to restore the engine. The council has just decided not to use it for that. I don't know. They don't feel like it. Like, this is just... It's a lot. It's a lot. And there's even further, deeper accusations going into the way Japan handles their heritage equipment in general. See, apparently a lot of the heritage equipment doesn't actually belong to the cities or regions that they're displayed in. They belong to the privatized railway companies, which put them there on lease. This is because they were originally under the ownership of the Japanese National Railways. But when everything was privatized, the ownership of them was transferred to the private companies, which still retain the ownership and just lease them for display purposes. But if that's true, are they okay with just scrapping the engine? Do they care? I mean, that implies that the city council is allowed to do that, so they must own it. And if they own it, then, well, can't they just give her to a preservation group, or heck, sell her to a preservation group? Because in my mind, because again, there is already a preservation group in place for 9667. There's a group of people that care. They just care and want to save this locomotive, okay? If that's true, you could let them try to raise the money to purchase her and move her out of that area. You want her gone? Fine. We can do that without destroying her. Let them take her somewhere else. She's out of your hair. It's their responsibility to keep her safe. To me, that's the most logical way to go about this, because it's really a win-win. Those that want to save her are able to try and do that, and the city no longer has to worry about her. But apparently there's some legal issue involved with that, because again, apparently she's still technically owned by the private companies. But again, if that's the case, how can the city council scrap her? Is the private company okay with scrapping her and not selling? There's a lot of information that I don't have here, and I didn't have time to actually dig into it. Most of what I've been told, well, I've been told. I haven't verified it. And there's many questions I have about the situation, but what I know is that she's in danger of being scrapped very soon. And this is not the first time that Japan has done this. There have been multiple cases, including a handful of 9667's own sisters, that have been scrapped unceremoniously after sitting outside on static display in Japan. They just do that. And it's one of those practices that, at first, when you still have a lot of examples of that type of locomotive, isn't a major deal, but it can quickly spiral out of control until you don't have any left. And my argument with this specific situation is that you do have a group of people that want to save her and are fighting for her. And that on its own is worthy of praise, and they should be allowed to fight for her and be given a chance to save her. That's what I'm saying. So, what about the petition? Well, apparently it's their kind of last-ditch effort. The city council meeting happens in September, next month. So, with just a few days. And apparently at that meeting is when they're going to bring the petition and try to convince the council to see reason in this case. Now, whether or not it's going to work, I can't say, because it is very much a last-ditch effort, and petitions can simply be ignored. They could do that, but if they're planning on doing that and being big old jerks about it, then there's probably nothing that can be done, frankly. But there's a chance that the petition might mean something to them, and maybe they'll be like, alright guys, you clearly do care, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a chance to fix this. And then, well, I can't say how it'll go from there, but this is probably 9667's last chance to be safe, however small a chance it may be. So I'm going to leave a link to the petition in the top of the description of this video. I've already signed it myself. It doesn't cost you a thing to do that. All it is a few seconds of your time. If you care, sign it. The more signatures they have, the more it might mean. And it might convince the council to at least give 9667 a shot at real, legitimate preservation in the hands of a group of people over in Japan that actually care about saving her. Whether or not it'll work, again, I can't say. But someone reached out to me and said, look, we need these signatures. It's really her last chance. And if me making this video makes a difference, if your signature makes a difference, then I'd say it was worth the shot. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.